Mike and Craig are back. This is how they look today in current form. We had 5 Canadian teams.
There it is, right? You see it. Look, this is how we look today.
Right? Exactly how you look today. 5 Canadian teams in the playoffs last season. Leafs, Oilers, Sens, Jets, Habs. Will all 5 make it this year? And if not, who misses?
I think all 5 will make it.
Okay.
I got them all 5, and I got Vancouver in too. I got 6 out of 7 in
Okay,
Canada.
we'll get to Vancouver in a second, but let's talk about these teams
Okay,
here.
well, these 5, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But
You
I
got
just
them.
have
How
to
about
add
you,
in
Mike?
Vancouver.
You know what? I did have all 5 making it. I think Montreal would be the closest team to a bubble team. I had them in the wild card spots. They took great strides last year. You love the talent they brought in, Dobson and Demidov, and a lot of great pieces there. But there are still some holes there. There are some elements of their 5-5 game that need to work. But it was a good year last year for Canadian hockey teams. I think they won more games last year than any other year ever in the NHL for Canadian franchises. So, yeah, they'll be successful again.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the offseason for all the Canadian NHL teams. Who had the best offseason, in your opinion? Mike, I'll start with you.
The best offseason, I see, your inclination is to go busiest. And busiest doesn't always make best. So, but I hate to go back to Dobson and Demidov arrived late. They're bringing in Bolduc. They've done a lot of sort of effective stuff in Montreal and getting other guys back healthy. I think more so than any other team that kind of pops off the top of my head right now. You know what? Edmonton just signed Connor McDavid in the offseason, in theory.
That's
so
true.
I guess he trumps everyone, so I'd say Edmonton. But I think, Montreal did some nice things with their team.
Mike, you and me have talked about Montreal last year at this time, that how they were going to take a step, that, Jeff Molson had said we want to be in the mix, and they found themselves in the mix. It was wonderful for them. But I like adding Dobson, adding Bolduc, and being bold. They were bold, and Kent Hughes recognized, hey, wait a sec, we can't just rest on our laurels here. If we want to keep moving forward, we got to keep moving forward. And they did a really nice job, and I think they're a really good team. Alex Newhook moved into the middle last year after Doc. If Kirby Doc can come back and play,
that's
and
such
be a real
big one, right?
Yeah, but if he can, I think that gives them even more lift.
But they were there. They were last year without him,
right?
Really contributing. So if they get more, there's room for growth.
Yeah, you'd love him to stay healthy. It'd be the greatest thing ever if Kirby Doc just had a monster year this year. Flames and Canucks, the 2 teams that didn't make it last year. Craig, we know how you feel about Vancouver. How do you guys both feel? Flames and Canucks, can they make it back this year?
I'll be really quick on the Flames. I think the Flames had everything go right for them last year and just falling short of the playoffs. I don't see that happening this year. They're not deep enough on the blue line. They're counting on younger players, but they're comfortable where they're at. This is still about being patient and what they start to do. They're in a place where Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton found themselves, and they're going to have to, when it presents itself, you better be ready to act, because they're still short on what I would consider to be real difference makers.
I had Calgary missing for a lot of the same reasons. They're good. They play hard. They have a whole bunch of good players, but they don't have sort of separators. Just not an indictment of the players they have. Like, not everyone's a great player. They got a whole bunch of really good ones, maybe just not quite enough great ones, other than maybe their goalie Dustin Wolf, they hope can do it again. Vancouver, to me, is fascinating. I had them missing, but coming fourth, because I think 5 teams are coming out of the Central. I think the Central is the best division in hockey, and they're just maybe better teams there than Vancouver. But you can convince me pretty easily. If Demko stays healthy and plays the way he can, if Quinn Hughes plays an entire season, because when he's on the ice, they're very, very good. Elias Pettersson, who has found some maturity, best shape of his life, which we always appreciate.
15 pounds of muscle.
He can always come in. If he gets back to anywhere what he was before, addition of Vander, they have pieces that could be good, but it's a lot of ifs. A lot of ifs there, and maybe the biggest one is Pettersson. And we in love with his talent and how good he has been. Last year was a real disappointment for him. So they're thin down the middle, and they're really thin if he doesn't play at a high level. Yeah,
interesting when we talk about Pettersson gaining 15 pounds. Watching him, I've watched him closely a couple times this year in the preseason, and he looks lighter. Now that sounds it's contradictory, right? But he looks lighter, like he's moving like he used to move, or he's getting to the spots. Last year on the edge data from the NHL, his speed was down, his shot velocity was down. He looks like he's quicker and faster now in everything he's doing. So I think that if all the drama in Vancouver has evaporated and dissipated, I think it's set up beautifully for Elias Pettersson to really return closer to the form that we expect him to be at.
A reminder, you don't always just carry weight in your body. The weight in your head, right? If you just freeze that up,
sense.
Maybe that makes him better.
I'm going to think about that.
And Quinn Hughes is a massive difference maker in this game.
So
in the entire NHL, I'm not talking about for Vancouver.
Yeah.
He's a massive difference maker in the NHL.
Okay, very quickly, who wins the Stanley Cup, Craig?
I have Vegas.
Las Vegas winning the Cup. Yeah. And, do you want to say who might be coming out of the East, maybe?
I have Tampa Bay.
Okay. Yeah. Nice bounce back season.
I think they have a little bit of, I think they might be like Pittsburgh were in 2017. Just a little more juice in there.
Who do I have? I have Edmonton.
Okay.
Third time's the charm.
There you go.
They've come this far.
Yeah.
And if they face anyone but Florida, they probably win.
Right.
And if they place Florida without Barkov, they probably win.
Right.
And given all that we know about their team and what they're going through, I have them beating Carolina, who I know Craig doesn't love in the playoffs, but I just think Carolina, because the East is not as good in the Metro specifically, is probably the weakest division, so they have probably the easiest path to get there.
Yep, that's what FanDuel said last year. Remember, Carolina was favored to get to the final because they had an easy path. Guys, this is a blast.
But Carolina got to the conference final, and we know that Carolina is a good team. And we know, and Rod Brendamore's a heck of a coach, and we'll see. And I guess it's one of those things.
There's no shame to losing to Florida. One of the best teams we've seen in 40 years.
Right, and so if Carolina can continue on, and they can show they can get to that to the next level, good on them, because they play hard and they play well, no question about it.
So do you guys. You guys play well.
Good close.